We're gonna start.
Luke, you want to ask that question again?
We'll go live.
I can't even remember what I asked 2 seconds ago.
You asked what happened.
I just remember that I've been waiting for Ryan for like 30 minutes. That's really all I remember.
There's no shot that is correct.
Luke is the first one on today that gets on and immediately proceeds to ask why the two other fuckers on the podcast haven't taken care of the show notes that he refuses to read.
Oh. Hey, I read them, just not before the show started.
What do we title? What do we title this? You would open them and write, "I'm not reading this," and I think that was
that was
in the show.
Yeah, that was before the show. Yeah.
What do we title this episode? Like,
why does the U.S. men's national team suck a big fucking?
We should
bag?
talk. Yeah, we could call it that because we need to talk about that at length. I think.
I don't know if there's much at length. Fucking
I'm updating the stream title. Pre-Euro nonsense and U.S. men's national team sucks.
A fucking bag.
I mean, I guess, but I think it's worth posing the question, like, is it entirely a coaching thing, or is it also a talent thing?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
We're talking about the U.S. men's losing to Colombia 5-1.
Oh, I missed this.
So you didn't watch any of that game?
No, it did. Did Copa? This is really bad. Did Copa America start?
No, this is like friendly.
Okay, so it's a friendly.
Yeah,
I like.
Ryan has a life outside of this podcast. Apparently, is what he's trying to transmit at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't watch the friendlies. I didn't even watch. I put a note to talk about not like what happened in the game, because I also didn't watch this, but the England lost to Iceland, and
1-0. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and what I was gonna comment on is like the people of England having a fucking meltdown over this. But yeah, let's talk about. So I think we should talk about at a minimum. What I have down here is we should talk about the U.S. Colombia game friendly. You guys mentioned something about Balogun. I also didn't pay attention to that. But we should talk about that. I have the Euros, like just an early Euros thoughts. I think we need to talk about what Man City is doing to the Premier League, just on the whole, and some of the implications of that. And
with Chelsea's help now.
Yeah, with Chelsea. Although I have a list of teams who we'll talk about it when we get there. But I think the teams who are providing information against Man City are as interesting as the teams who are coming to their defense. And then I have a ton of transfer news we can run down.
I'm sure we know.
But,
yeah,
and we all know the club that all those transfers might be going to.
Ryan waits all season for the season to be over so he can get into Ryan's transfer rumor corner.
Yeah,
That's
Ryan
we need
rumor
a segment. We need a segment.
No, it's the whole off season.
Yeah, it's Ryan's rumor mill. We named it last week when Luke didn't show up. How'd the art thing?
Ryan Romano over here.
When do you go over? Fabrizio Romano, Ryan Romano. When do you go back to get your let's all catch up real quick before we hop in. So Luke drove to New York for an art show last weekend.
A couple paintings up in Bushwick, yeah.
Yep. So I misunderstood what was going on. You were dropping a painting off, and now it's there for a little while, or some paintings. And
I was dropping 2 paintings off and some by another artist from Baltimore.
Do I know the painting?
Yeah, you've seen it.
Have I seen it? Okay.
Yeah, you've seen. It's like the one with the dancing lady in the theater setting. That one's up there, and then there's this like hand painting that went up. Yeah.
This right behind me, if you're watching the live stream, Luke did this painting behind me during the pandemic. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I was out. But the opening was on Friday. I couldn't make it because I had work stuff going on. And yeah, just back in action here. I don't know when I'm gonna go get the paintings. I have like no life at the moment, so my June's fucked. Anybody else's June just totally fucked. You ever look at a calendar and it's just like I'm fucked.
My whole life is fucked. There's no reason to to calendarize it.
Dude, at work, like I am the technical lead for a very, very large machine learning project, and we were acquired. And the hottest thing, I'm a software engineer. Like, my background, I think we've talked about that a little bit here, but the hottest thing in tech right now is artificial intelligence, and the company that acquired us seems to think that I am just an idea machine, and they are making me go to just meeting after. It's killing me. I probably shouldn't be saying this publicly, but it's just so many meetings, and like the invites are like, I heard you're the AI guy, and if you're at all in tech, like that, and that's like the whole agenda.
Yeah.
And if you're at all in tech, like following this, like it's nonsense. Like to call me that, or to like, I don't know. It's
Wait till they find out that you're the rumor mill guy too.
Yeah.
Once word gets out of that, people are going to be in your office all day.
Rumor mill guy. Yeah. So it's like
Whole nother set of
AI.
meetings.
I think AI will obviously. I mean, this is way out of scope for this podcast.
Yeah, well, I thought you had these notes, and now we're on AI.
Well, we're just catching up at the beginning, but the whole thing is so overblown. Like, I think this is just I really think it's like NFTs almost. I think a lot of people have said that, but like, I don't know. People are super excited about it, and it like the only reason I even have I think my title is like the VP of machine learning at work. And the only reason I have that title is because the company that I was with needed to like pretend we had some sort of structure to how we were doing things when they were being sold. So they just like, they were like, oh, you managed that one project, like here's your title. And it is haunting me.
Good.
Haunting me.
You
So anyway, my
nothing
June
more.
is full of meetings that are like, tell me AI things. And yeah. But in my personal life, it's actually a very light month. And then July, Shannon has her 100-miler, which that'll be a big chunk of July. The 4th of July happens, obviously, in July. But, yeah, I don't know.
Can we create a machine learning replacement for Luke when his schedule doesn't work for us, so we can just kind of like
You could
fill it?
probably hire like a 12-year-old and probably.
We need better lighting. Like, I don't know that we could like train a vision model on the shadow that is in the bottom of the screen. But yeah,
we have to clean up the
gotta get Luke a
contrast.
ring light or something.
I will not have a ring light in mind. The second I get a ring light, I'm actually going to get an OnlyFans account. And
All
just
right, well, there we have it. I know what I'm getting off the
That
slick
twinkle
heels
in
right
Luke's
now.
eyes.
That's all it is the dark twinkle.
Derek, how was
Fuck
little
you
Donna?
guys.
Uh-oh, we lost Luke's.
Didn't-
He must
didn't
be
make it there
doing
last
something
night.
illegal.
We had someone was not feeling well, so did that. What's that?
Luke figured out how to cut the video feed, and so now I
Yep.
just assume that any time his video cuts out, he's doing something illegal.
It's weird because most people like mute themselves and then come off mute. Luke goes off camera and then comes back on.
I don't mute either. I don't mute.
Yeah, he isn't muted, so you hear the noises. Yeah,
I want you to hear me, Derek.
piece it together.
Did you go to Little Donna's?
I didn't
go
make
to
it. We didn't make it last night, so it's still on the list. Yeah.
I have a hot take on Little Donna's, but I'm gonna wait till you go, because I know
No, I
Jeff
wa-
went.
Fair
really
enough.
likes
I
it.
want your hot take now. No,
No,
Derek can
gotta
hear it.
wait. I
Come
can't
on.
poison the well.
Well,
I've gotta
You
like Derek's gotta
poisoned
go.
so many
and then
others. Machine
Yeah, we
learning
went
my
to the we went to the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra last night, and if
nice.
you have not gone,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. It's like,
What was the
Like-
the piece last night?
God, I can't
Or
pronounce the guy's
composition.
name. It's like Tchaikovsky number 8. It was like a trumpet
Okay.
concerto or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have this new. So I've been going to the BSO for a while. Like for I've always loved the BSO for as long as I've been here. They have this new like hotshot director conductor that they pulled from Germany, who they're promoting the shit out of, and it was cool because they're doing this new series where he talks more, like, so they're not just playing music. They like in the middle of the performance they have this dude from like talk radio come out and ask him about the composition and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
Because I don't have a classic music background. I just really, it's like really calming, and I've always liked going to it. Shannon
you can play
does.
instruments though.
Yeah, I played the drums,
Yeah.
and I played piano growing up. But yeah, but I don't have like a classic background. Yeah,
I am also bullish on the BSO. It's amazing.
dude, it's
Tesla was
It's,
like a classical cellist for a long time, like through college.
Oh, really?
And I
have you
like,
talked
used
with
to-
Shannon about this?
Yeah, I think we have actually.
Yeah, Shannon's also a classically trained cellist.
I like kind of like it's kind of sappy, but I like fell in love with Tessa watching her play cello. I think cello is like the most amazing instrument. So
Yeah.
going to the BSO is always like a real treat.
Yeah, so this guy specifically, Tchaikovsky, I don't know how you, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, but he's, I guess he's known for having the most complicated cello, I don't know, I don't know what you call it, segments of the performance, so Shannon was like all about that.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. Let's go into the.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So what did the U.S. men's national team do? What happened? Hit me. They did not, what was the score?
Pretty much,
I
it
should
was
ask that.
5-1 Columbia.
Who scored the one?
I can't even remember at this point. Yeah,
Wait, that was in
yeah.
fairness. That was a nice goal. It'd
And
be
it
nice
was
to
at
see.
2-1, so they like gave him a chance.
Yeah, more or less from what I remember, created himself. I mean, he turned. It was a fairly tight angle. It was a good shot, which you don't necessarily like. He's more of a pacey guy, but it was a really nice shot and finish on
This
his
is
part.
not like a golden generation at all for Colombia, right?
Well, they have good players in there, like, but not
Like they-
not like
They have Luis
not that good.
Diaz. Is James Rodriguez still playing there?
Yeah,
Yeah, James Rodriguez
Okay.
started.
Davis and Sanchez. Yeah, I mean Jefferson
Sinistero.
Lerma. It's not like they're not world beers, but honestly, like I think the FIFA ranking is the 12 or 13 for whatever that's worth, right? In my opinion, I think they're up there in terms of top 10 talent based on what I've seen and having some players like Luis Diaz that are world class. But I think that again, that some of that has to do with the fact that you have like a top, I don't know, let's call it top 5, top 6, and then there's everybody else, right? And so it kind of, but obviously we've talked about like us competing with top 10, top 6 teams, and like this is a good example of how far we have to come apparently, because it just
The
it
U.S.
wasn't
team
there.
on the FIFA rankings is 11th.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's
like
wrong.
That's pretty outrageous to me.
incorrect.
Like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my mind, that makes no sense.
Obviously, I'm a big U.S. fan, but not correct. Like we're
I mean, we've
we're
been-
11th.
yeah.
Colombia is 12th.
you only play so many games against like those top 15 teams, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's part of it. And we've been beating like Mexico and Canada, and we've been racking up wins, and so that all helps. But obviously, this is one of the first opportunities in recent memory, I think, for us to go against what I again would say is a top 10 caliber team and have just a complete garbage result, especially with a fairly healthy player pool. I mean, when I looked at that starting 11 yesterday, like I was fairly excited about it.
Yeah, that's
But
that
you-
was going to be my next question.
But I think Derek, I think you asked the right question, right? Is it the caliber of the players, or is it the management of the team? You asked that right at the beginning.
Yep,
right?
I think that's
That, so what you just indicated in terms of what the profile of that squad was, in terms of what the best team we could put out there, we had the players to do it, whether on the bench or on the start in a starting position. But the way the team was set out for international football was just fucking stupid. Like, Gio Reyna is not a number 8 at the international level. Like, he can play as a number 10 where he can play high and doesn't have to come back. He doesn't have the physicality to keep up with midfield runners. Like, it just blows my mind that Greg Berhalter just cannot figure out a good structure for the team. There's just no structure to compete at this level. They're not going to have possession. They're not going to have the most dynamic players playing against Colombia. So why set up like we do? That's the big question, right? I feel like we've been more competitive with teams like this in the past. And then a result like this happens.
How did Oh, I've got it now.
That was my angry
Wow.
response.
So,
Yeah, so like, I mean, we put a team out there. That was going to be my next question is, like, did we line up like this was a friendly? And the answer to that is no. Like, this is, as far as I can tell, this is nearly our best 11 that we can put out right now.
And I think Cardoso is the question. He hasn't been in the team quite as much, but he's a good player at a high level, right?
He played all right,
balance
I
wasn't
thought. I thought Luca De La Torre is not somebody who I get excited about, and like the other guys behind him. I don't think Gianluca Buzio is healthy for this cycle because I didn't see him. I don't even think he's on the roster. Maybe he didn't make it. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, you'd like to see Musa or Tyler Adams not being fully fit hurts too out there to start, but I think Cardoso played all right. It's weird, to Luke's point on the tactics, we've seen this 4-3-3 work with Reyna playing like a box-to-box role. I would agree, though. I don't think that was the right way to set it up. I think ESPN thought we were going to play a 4-2-3-1 when they saw this lineup. Instead, we kind of had Reyna drop back into a less effective area. I will say he can do a job in terms of like pressing, but like, is he really the one you want running end line to end line the entire game? And I don't think that's a good use of his skill set.
And then defending in front of your own box, you can't do that. Yeah,
exactly. In the positions that you're forced to go into that you wouldn't be as a 10. I think that's a fair point. I have a contrasting view of this to an extent, right? There's the lead up to this game in the Copa, they've been talking a lot about like Ballo and I'm trying to think of others. Chris Richards had a good spell at Crystal Palace this season. Gio's obviously had a form, but like Ballo as an example, right? Like, I don't know that Ballo or Pepe or Sargent are top 15 caliber strikers at the moment, at least on form. Like, we've seen glimpses out of Ballo, and I was as high as anybody, and I talked about in this podcast on Ballo, but like, he didn't have that great of a season at the club level, and so like his form coming into this isn't fantastic. He did have some good touches and created some chances in this game yesterday, and then similarly, like Haji Wright's like I think they put him out wide when he came in, so like that's probably not his prime position either, and I don't think he's a top 20 striker either. And so there's some real weaknesses. Tim Ream's another example, right? Like, he's kind of past his prime. He played, he played consistent football, but is he a top 15, top 10 caliber center back, or is he going to be able to defend against top 5 and top 10 strikers? No, I don't think so. And so, to me, there's really it's kind of disturbing from a talent level as well, kind of where we are. Like, I just don't think we're over that hump to get into to start beating top 10 teams.
But I don't even think
with
we need to
everybody
beat
healthy.
the top. We don't need to beat the top teams, 10 teams, in my opinion. We just need to be more competitive than 5-1.
Yeah,
Like, you take a 1-0, maybe a 2-0 or 3-1 kind of result, and say, all right, well, we're competing against a good team. It's a warm up to a tournament, whatever. You take it, right?
Yeah.
But 5-1 just tells you there's an imbalance in the team, and you can't change the talent levels, right? You can make different choices, but we're not going to move the talent up, right? So what does the manager have to do? They have to make the team more competitive. You guys hear Bowie down here just growling away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're watching him next weekend, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's strange to me, like just the way that Berhalter sets up the team. Like I said, I think it goes back to that. Now, I will say, in transition and going forward through general play, the U.S. actually had some good chances. Like, there were good moments in the game because we were playing so wide open. Like, there were opportunities for us to get forward. We weren't clinical, and it could have kept us in the game for longer. So that is one thing. I also thought Matt Turner was really bad.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
First goal, near post, maybe a deflection, but he's falling back before the shot happens, so I think he's anticipating too much. And then the overhead kick goal, which was really fantastic, he really should be saving that.
Yeah.
Like, it's right in his frame. He's falling back again. He's not being aggressive. He's just he's anticipating too early. I thought it was poor.
I think a top 10 goalkeeper saves both of those, right? To your point, like there's an opportunity to make saves there, and he's just not at that level at present. And maybe like some of the individual performances overshadowed like where he actually is from a relative talent standpoint on the international level.
I think he's trash. I think that he had a moment where he really played out of his skull, and he's regressing to the mean. And I think that Turner is actually trash.
I think there's some truth to that regression, yeah, especially.
Yeah.
I don't think he's trash. Like, he's not like a trash footballer. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I think
Look,
at this level he has a lot of inefficiencies.
Hold on. We're talking. Derek just said he's not a top 15 goalkeeper. He's not a top 20 goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, he was
the
top
worst
50 in the world. Yeah,
he wasn't the best goalie on his team in the Premier League. He's actually trash.
I think that gets at like the disparity in expectations and a little bit of the cognitive dissonance, I guess, around like where the talent needs to be on the international level to compete with these top 10 teams, right? Like we look at it and we're like, okay, this is the best USA team we've had in a long time, if ever. So we should be able to compete, but that doesn't mean we're over that hump to be able to compete with these teams. And
not with a
Turner's
manager
a good
like we
example of
have.
that.
We're supposed to have Gaga Slonina is supposed to be a crazy promising.
I wasn't sure if I had to bait you into this or not.
Like what? Where the fuck are we going with him?
So I put him on the list, right? And this is another one where they're talking him up recently, even though he's not in the squad, right? You know, if you look at his...
Berhalter should be fucking shot for not even having him in the squad.
I guess, but playing devil's advocate, like, why? Like, what did he do at a club level or internationally to earn that spot so far? And the reason I asked that is if I got curious because they were talking him up, right? So he did play almost 3,000 minutes, right, in the Belgian Pro League.
Yeah.
But he conceded almost 60 goals. He only had 5 clean sheets. And if you look at percentage-wise, he was in the 11th percentile conceded per 90. He was in the 17th percentile on clean sheets, and he was in the 38th percentile on save percentage, which maybe I could get behind that at least if it was higher. But, like, I don't... Other than, like, his physical metrics and, like, the promise of having, like, an up-and-coming international club-level keeper, like, I don't know what he's done. And that's where it's really worrying to me. Like, I'd like to be bullish on him, but, like, I don't know who the alternatives are behind Turner, other than this guy who doesn't look like he's doing much at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the context. I'd have to dig into the stats. I just know he's very, very, very highly rated by scouts. Like, and not just I'm not just saying that because of Chelsea. Like, he's been considered one of the most promising goalkeepers under the age of 20.
Yeah, I think that's true. I can't figure out why. And maybe I haven't watched enough of it, but like doesn't. His market value is down 40% year over year.
Well, that's because Chelsea overpays for everyone. Like,
fair. That's true.
Yeah, like that's not a useful stat. And I don't like. Maybe for the next episode, I'll dig into this. I'll try to figure out because it could be that this team is defensively awful that we sent him to. So yeah, there's like a lot. I'll dig into
which is good preparation if he's going to play for Chelsea, right? Just go out there and get pummeled.
So bringing it back to the U.S., right? You're talking about this young goalie prospects. Great, whatever. The thing about it is, though, going into a tournament, I actually think you have to be more consistent with the goalkeeper because you need the relationship between the goalkeeper and the back four, or at least the set players in that team, solidified. I think a relationship is better than talent at this moment. But the thing is that Berhalter's trying to play with a team that's not playing the best strengths of Turner either. He's at best a really good shot stopper, right? He's not good with his feet. He doesn't really move that well across the box. But they're playing this open brand of football that just like puts him in the worst positions where he has to receive pressure constantly on the ball. So the whole game he has to be like kind of under pressure to keep going. So when the shot stopping comes, he's not 100% focused on that, right? He's doing a little too much in the game. You could say that of a number of positions on this team. It's just the team is not set up to succeed for the players it has.
So the second question I was going to ask is where was when the U.S. had the ball? Were they like trying to play it through the middle? Were they going down the wings? Like what was their pattern of play?
The wide areas were more open because of the way Colombia sets up with that.
I can't find a heat map, which is crazy.
Yeah, there's not a lot. There aren't full stats on this game, I think, but I can tell you that they congest the midfield. Colombia plays through the midfield and they clog up the midfield, right? And so that's an area of concentration. So there was room at times, and there was some good switches, like Anthony Robinson in particular, in wide areas. Moments. And Greg was yelling at Scally to get forward more, and maybe that's where like Dest helps you more in a game like this. But so yeah, that's kind of where the space was. Like Weah had some room to run at times. I don't understand Pulisic coming out early because again there was room on that side.
I think there was an element of managing the game too in terms of the substitutions. The game did get a little disjointed because there were players coming in and out. So that, like, to give Berhalter like a little bit of like leeway, I'd say that. Yeah, they were trying to play a high possession game combined to get in behind in the wide positions. But because we were playing a little bit more open, we were playing transition, right? We were trying to possess to go forward. I think that we just got beat in those transitional moments when we lost the ball quickly in midfield. Every single time Colombia looked like they could challenge and win and score a goal.
Yeah, they were lethal on the counter when we lost possession in the second half.
So when you have someone like Gio in that he's number 7, but he's in that kind of number 8 position, going a little bit more forward or going forward more. It's not a position he really is ready to play. So he was on the edge of his box, and in every transition moment, they were able to combine and get in behind. So many dangerous crosses across the 18
which
cutbacks.
Which is positionally somewhere Tyler Adams excels, right?
100%.
Like for like.
Yeah, or Yunus Musa.
What are the
Yunus
odds
Musa has
that
more legs.
Adams gets healthy for this tournament? Like, what's his status at this point?
I have no idea.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know it's been a huge miss. Because of the leader he is in that team, I think. I think he has, like, deficiencies in terms of his range of passing, but he really is a little pit bull. So, he's been a big miss. But Yunus Musa and McKinney in the same team should have enough legs to do the job, but they need to play together.
Yeah. Well, this team has talent. I mean, Pulisic has had the year of his career. Robinson was arguably the best left back in the PL. We're talking about how bad Turner is.
He made a huge mistake too. Like that first goal is pretty much on him, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
I would say him and Ream.
Yeah.
Could be like the shaking the rust off. I don't know. Hopefully.
I think that's a good point, right? Like we can only overreact so much to a friendly. I think I'm interested in your opinion on this though. Is there a naivety in scheduling Colombia and Brazil as your friendlies leading up to a major tournament?
I mean, you've got to. I guess the argument would be that you've got to beat the best to be the best type thing. Like you'll learn a lot from those games, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think Berhalter can learn anything from anything.
Yeah. So that's Berhalter, like, I can't believe we've pitched our ladder against that fucking guy. Like, and we've been Berhalter out the whole time. Like, not just for this podcast, but the entire time I've known Luke.
Accurate.
Yeah.
I was expecting Luke to come fully unhinged this episode.
Yeah. I will come unhinged when we fall in the first round of the tournament in Copa America, and we're just embarrassed. I'm gonna be like, fuck that asshole, get him out. Him and his fucking huge ass shoes he's always wearing. He always has these like massive Nikes on. They're like too big for his little slender body.
Well, I can restore your patriotism or your pride in our international presence, I guess. Have you seen the Cricket World Cup? Do you guys know anything about cricket?
No,
what do you think?
Not.
I don't know a single thing about cricket, but
there's not even like interesting betting options on cricket. So there's no reason for me to pay attention.
I'm terribly sorry, Derek. Anyway, the Cricket World Cup is being held in Texas this year.
What a weird place.
It's a very worldly state to hold an international tournament.
It's a play to increase the footprint of the sport and try to get the biggest commercial value country involved in it. The United States is thus far undefeated.
Just beat Pakistan.
They beat the fuck out of Pakistan.
Really?
Not really. I don't know how close this was. Like the score looks like a fucking math equation. Like I don't.
Yeah, you got tennis score. It was complicated.
We beat the fuck out of Pakistan, who was in the final for the previous Cricket World Cup. And I read the captain of the U.S. team is like a software engineer from Oracle. Like you could look him up on LinkedIn. It has like shades of that. Remember when we like won at curling a couple Winter Olympics ago, and it was like 5 dudes who like hung out at a bar and decided they'd start curling or something. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
could that be the next venture of this podcast? Can we start a curling team?
A curling team. Curling is awful. And also, it's like shockingly expensive to play.
I was going to say the barrier to entry's got to be pretty high, right?
It makes sense. So one of the teams that I manage at work, they wanted to do curling as like a team building thing, and I looked into the prices to like use a curling court or whatever they're called. A curling field of sadness, and
World of Bowling Rocks.
They are like it makes sense. Like they've got to keep it. I guess they have to manage ice. They have to like only you can do it. So like you're renting out this like relatively large piece of ice that has to be kept frozen for an hour or whatever. Anyway, it's serious. At least at the only place in this area that you can go curling, the like Colombia Curling Center, it's something like $250 an hour to
good shit
to do curling. So no, I'm not interested. Yeah.
What about cricket, where we can throw balls at each other?
Dude, I can't like cricket.
Yeah, I don't want to play cricket.
Dude, it feels like sometimes the games take days.
Yeah,
like,
and the scoring is ridiculous. Like you said.
Look at this score. It says 159/7 and 13/1, target 19. What the fuck does that mean?
It seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
This is what Greg Berhalter looks like when he sets out his team. He's like,
yeah.
What is the over 7?
He's like literally Ted Lasso. He's like, can somebody explain offsides? All right. Balogun. What do you guys? What's up with him? Like you guys sent something about him, and I didn't look.
Well, that was my spiel. I don't think he didn't have that impressive of a club season. He didn't. I mean, he played a decent amount of minutes. It's good for him to be getting time, but like I don't know.
His stock is down for sure. Did he get sold, or was he loaned?
No, he was sold to Monaco.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that. So, I think in terms of experience, they came in second. I think in Liga, so I think there's good experience for him. I think there's an older striker, more experienced striker in that team too, who just ended up getting more minutes throughout the year. I think Balogun did not have the best game by his standards, but he didn't look like he looked dangerous. Like on the half turn, he gets off a shot. Like he does things that Haji Wright, Josh Sargent can't do. He's not quite as physical, but he does have that half turn kind of quick shot that I think is exciting. I think Balogun should be the starter, right, in my opinion. I think Haji Wright or Josh Sargent should probably be the ones off the bench. But Balogun just gives us so much more in terms of open play than either of those players do.
I would agree with that.
What happened to what's his name? What did he go to play in the Belgian league? Who's the other striker we have? Pepe.
Oh, Pepe. Yeah, but Pepe's been pretty quiet at a not a huge high level, you know. I think what Haji Wright did with Coventry this year, particularly in the FA Cup run-in, was pretty fantastic at probably an equal level. And I think Sargent has also been pretty good.
Yeah, Sargent has been good for sure. I've caught that. Balogun, 29 absence, 7 goals. That might have been what you said.
I
Derek.
think you gotta give him another year at a new club.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
So see what happens. You know, PSG will be in like in a rotational year, I think, again next year. So you never know.
But I think it's an example of like, and even I was guilty of this. I was like, you know, he's an Arsenal level player. He's coming into the fold for the U.S. and he's going to fix our striker problem. And it's just not quite that simple, right? It's nice that we have some depth now, but we still need like a clear leading striker that's going to go out there and score every game. And we don't.
And Balogun is by far the best chance of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Should we talk England and Iceland? Did you guys watch this game at all?
I didn't watch it, but I did watch the meltdown after, and I had forgotten that Iceland like eliminated them from the Euros.
Yeah, they're kind of a boogie team for England for sure.
Yeah. I think that it's another. So England has.
Ryan, do you think it's because Harry Kane was the starting striker?
I think they should probably get rid of him. If their ambition is to win anything,
yeah.
And it's not that he's not good. It's just that he played for Tottenham, and
it's not his fault, right? Yeah, it's just
right. Like he's clearly probably top 5 striker in the world, probably top 2. Like he might be, I don't know. Great player. Like I think he's
all right. You got your point across here.
I think he's phenomenal.
Guys, you're taking a long time to
should we keep going here, Luke?
But he can't win anything. And so I don't know. Like it's like a mentality thing.
I'm gonna tell you what happened in that game.
I think he'd have to have
those England players didn't give a fuck. They were tired and they're like, I don't care about this. We're gonna run around.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think so.
It looked like, I didn't watch it, but statistically, it looked like they really tried to win this match. Like
Iceland is a bad team.
So many shots.
Yeah, I just don't think they gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Watching it through the game, it just felt like they were tired. They were like, they played some good stuff, but like, it's just how
did the right thing and left Madison at home at least.
I think Madison did not deserve a place in the team.
No.
I'm surprised about Jack Grealish. I'm really surprised that Luke Shaw's in that team, but
that is is he on here?
Southgate's
he's there.
I'm ready for South. I've been a big backer of Southgate just because I appreciate the unity argument that he's made, but the team's not going to go forward anywhere with him there. He doesn't his choices are so strange.
He subbed in Ivan Toney instead of Ollie Watkins for Kane when he was chasing the game.
Yeah, I would say Ollie Watkins had a better season.
Like much
better.
Sure.
Yeah,
significantly better.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think, so Southgate has done a lot for the mentality of the England squad, and he has overperformed with much less talented England squads in the past. I guess the previous Euros, did they make it to the final? Am I remembering this right?
Yes, they've made it to the semifinal.
He probably had Henderson and Maguire in the starting lineup.
Yeah. It's another. I mean, he's obviously better than Berhalter, but I don't think that tactically he's the coach to be leading a team with this much talent. Like, I don't think he knows what to do. He's like a play the odds type coach.
Yeah.
Increase your odds. Don't let control the middle of the field versus being on the attack. And the team is just too talented. Like, they have a guy who's a shout for the Ballon d'Or this year. They have Declan Rice. They've got
top of the line Phil Foden, ready
Foden,
to go.
who's I think is one of the best in the world. Saka, who
stretches the pitch like no other player. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's you need a coach who I don't know. Nobody comes to mind, but you need a coach who will let those players you got to control the game still, but you have to go on the attack, I guess, is my more so than he has in the past. That's my overall thesis on.
I mean, I think that's an interesting point, right? Because you look at the 4-2-3-1 he set up, and right, you could make the argument that maybe Mano should have been on the bench, and you start like Saka out wide and play four attacking mids and Kane, and just really go after him, especially against a less talented team, right? Because putting one shot on target is bullshit for the level of talent on this team.
Yeah. Watching that, so they're the odds on the odds makers have them as the favorite to win the Euros, behind or ahead of France.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah. But heading into this game, those were the odds.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the famous Saudi Arabia-Argentinian result at the beginning of the World Cup before? So I and this applies to the U.S. too. You know, this happens more often than we all think, right? These guys.
By the way, on that point, Saudi Arabia beating Argentina was less of an upset than USA beating Pakistan statistically in cricket. That was referenced in the article I read about this.
That's amazing.
Sorry, go ahead.
So this is again, I think there's a dynamic where the players are kind of tired. They've just finished a long season. They're trying not to get injured before the tournament, particularly for the Euros. I think this is at play. So we'll just have to see where they go. I think they'll come good. I think that they're a semifinal team for sure. And when you're in the semifinal of a tournament like that, you never know.
Yeah. But what I enjoyed about this was watching the meltdown.
The total meltdown.
Yeah, I mean, people in England went from, and other English fans went from, we are winning the Euros to, oh my God, it's happening again. In the course of 90 minutes. And
they should calm down about it.
Yeah.
I do like the Declan Rice-Mano kind of combination, though. There is something that's really, with Jude Bellingham in there, that structure and that's ability to go forward. So I kind of do like that, just to throw that. Sorry, Derek.
No, I think you're right. I think there's flexibility there, and in a game like this where you're playing against lesser competition, you're having trouble scoring. To me, it's not unreasonable to put 5 attackers out there and just have Declan behind. But yeah,
Gallagher probably would have been good.
Gallagher didn't play, so that's another example.
Him in a game like that where you need a guy who's just gonna eat up, you turn the ball over and he's gonna get it back for you instantly.
And maybe Bellingham saves. Just fixes everything, right? He is that good. Maybe he just comes on the field and it's unfucked. And to your point, Southgate can just continue on autopilot like he has been his entire life, and they win the Euros.
I do like the Gallagher call, because Gallagher, while a different player, I think has better qualities going forward. Actually, is a similar kind of profile to a Jordan Henderson. Kind of plays box to box, covers a lot of territory, gives you a lot of energy, and wins the ball back.
Are you going to let Luke just compare Gallagher to Henderson like that? Ryan?
I think Henderson at peak Jordan Henderson had that two-way ability like Gallagher does.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that, but Henderson also became a complete fucking fraud, and I don't want to talk about him.
All right, there we go.
Thank you for ending the conversation.
Way to bait Ryan into that one. All right.
I'm glad he's lost to the tides of history at this point, but nobody will think about Jordan Henderson again.
Appreciate that. Imagine he had made this team. What do you think Ryan would have done to the world?
My God, dude. I mean, what would I do? People would have. So, to Southgate's credit, with his selection, he was very progressive, which he hasn't been in the past. So he didn't bring Henderson, didn't bring Madison, which I think some people thought was interesting. Maguire didn't make the squad, right?
No. Maguire didn't.
Sterling's still out. Sterling didn't deserve to be in the squad. So he has moved on from that era, and
Jack Grealish being the biggest of all those names.
Grealish
got
made
left
the
out.
squad.
No, he got left out.
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, he did. Wow.
Yeah, that's the call that everyone was like, what
I think
are
him
you
and
fucking
Madison
doing?
are in Ibiza or something together.
Whoa. Okay. I think I missed that. I think, yeah, Grealish. I'm trying to decide if I threw this opinion
Pep
in the.
Guardiola kind of ruined him, to be honest, which is a kind of growing opinion. But
Yeah.
Jack the question there in that squad: Jack Grealish, Anthony Gordon. Which one are you taking to the Euros? In my opinion, it's Jack
Anthony
Grealish
Gordon.
for sure.
Anthony
I would
Gordon.
say Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon had a better season, and
Definitely.
frankly, he's more of a professional at this point.
Jack Grealish has gone under for the partying motif.
Dude,
Well-
I mean, like, if you listen to his teammates talk about him, it's I think he might have, like, a drinking problem that needs to be addressed. And, I really do. And
I
I'm
don't
not,
know about that.
Dude, if you listen to his teammates talk about him, they are a lot of, like, they often talk about how much he parties. And Holland has said, like, I try to get Jack to not, like, go out so much. Like, I'm synthesizing what he said into.
You're using
to
the
that,
AI model to create.
Yeah. I don't know exactly. I don't know. He's probably like, he should be eating babies in my free time or in his free time like me. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I see the photos.
Of his calves.
I hear what his teammates say. He fell off the fucking float during the celebration for their EPL win, and there has to be a reason that Pep is not playing him, because Guardiola he does value experience, and he's playing Doku over Grealish, who's very green for Man City. And yeah, I don't know. There's an issue there, and I think he needs to get it together. He's like 29, 30. He doesn't have that many years left.
Yeah, he's just about to turn 29 this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Does he need to change teams this season for next season?
I want him to get the fuck out of there and go be Jack Grealish somewhere again.
Yeah, that's the other thing is.
I want the guy who got punched in the middle of a promotion playoff and then score the fucking game-winning goal to come back to the world. Like, that dude was amazing.
Yeah, Grealish was. I mean, he was a lot of fun when he was just the man. And I don't know. I forget.
If you ask him, he's still having a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. Also, he did win the treble last year and started almost every game. So, like, you got to give him some credit for being at the top for some time. Once you win the treble, I feel like when you win the treble and you're that good looking to, like, British man standards, like, you got to just, like, give it.
Tell me
him.
more
Like,
about this,
good
Luke.
for you, man.
Derek just booked his ticket.
Didn't know I was going to the Euros this year, but
Well, Grealish isn't.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
There isn't a rich well of talent there, I've heard, but yeah. Well, this feels like a perfect pivot to what Man City is doing.
Give us the details.
What's that?
fill Luke in on what's going on here.
I've seen it, but I'm sure you've read more about it.
All right, so the title of the article that I have here is Man City launch unprecedented legal action against the Premier League. So the gist is the Premier League. So for new rules around finances in the Premier League to be codified into Premier League law, it requires, I believe, 2/3 of the owners of current Premier League teams to vote for that rule to be adopted. And one such rule, I think 2 seasons ago, was that sponsorship values needed to be verified, validated by a third-party arbiter, so that these like state-held clubs or state-affiliated clubs couldn't use a another business they own to basically funnel money into their their club, right?
Yeah.
Man City, this is what they're in violation of, this like unfair market value and among other things, and then trying to cover it up and stuff like that. This is like where you get the 115 charges against them. Like basically they were pumping money into the club to cook the books on their finances. And when Newcastle was bought by Saudi, that's when this rule was adopted. And so Newcastle are annoyed at this law because they haven't been able to pump money into that club either. City are suing the PL and asserting that this law targets Middle Eastern owned clubs, and it like effectively saying that it's racist or discriminatory against Middle Eastern owned clubs, and that they should be able to value their sponsorships at whatever they feel like. And if they are successful in overturning this, which Chelsea is in support of overturning this, shocker, because they have their own dubious shirt sponsor deals and stuff like that. And again, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, I am a Chelsea fan, but I'm lucid. My eyes are wide open to what Chelsea are doing. So City are pushing to get rid of this, and you may as well just, like, if they are successful, then City and Newcastle are going straight to the top. Like, the City will be even more dominant than they have been. Yeah. So that's the story.
Well, and it's not just about domination. It's also about the availability of all kinds of influence, outside influence, nefarious possible, right? And this is not directed at Middle Eastern countries. I would say like the history of Roman Abramovich, right? It's a character like that, a character coming in from the U.S. and just pushing money into the club for nobody knows where. Like, that opens up a huge can of worms for ethics, for like the continuation of the game, and like the idea of this as the world game. Like, it would be just destructive.
There is a distinction between some of those groups. So like
I'm painting with a broad brush, but it would lead to questions in all of those cases.
Sure,
it's like it just opens so much up.
But an oligarch coming in, I would say, is similar to this. But an oligarch is not going to be able to compete even with, like, Roman was
with
in
like
support,
city-states, was
in support of the original PSR rules because City was bought by Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And he couldn't compete. He knew he couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of wealth we're talking here is it's like orders of magnitude. And there's no profit motive. This is purely a sports washing. It's what you're seeing in every. They're buying fucking the whole golf league, or whatever it's called.
The Premier League could become the new golf league, essentially.
Yeah.
It opens it up to that.
And that's what they're trying to buy. World influence through sports, through entertainment, and we have to get wise to this.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Like, quick. Like, I don't know. Like, and this again, it's happening in all sports. Like, I think we talked about it on here. The women's world championship in tennis is set to be held in Saudi Arabia for the next 5 years, and they wouldn't let a woman play tennis professionally there, or at least up to this point. Maybe they will now, but like these, I don't know. This is all very sensitive, obviously, but my recommendation for the PL would be, and I said this in our Discord this week, I would treat these. I would recognize the mistake you've made. And I would treat these two teams exactly, give them exactly the treatment you gave Abramovich, and force a sale. Like, I think that you're basically at an inflection point with the Premier League where you have let the devil into the league, and you have your window to snuff this out is closing rapidly, and they should ban match going everything they did to Roman to force a sale. I would just crater the club, force a sale, and then change the rules so that you can't have city-state ownership in the Premier League. Because, Chelsea, American owners coming in and pumping money in is unsavory, but they still have a profit motive. Blue Co. is there to make money. These owners are not there to make money.
Yeah, they'll take the loss. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just perpetuating a political agenda, which largely is predicated on things that are not good for the world, to put it lightly. And now I will say, it's the contrast to that, right, is the fans, whether we think about City or Newcastle, right, don't seem to have any problem with this dynamic, right? So where does that leave the fan base relative to what's good for the league, right?
I mean, Chelsea fans didn't have a problem being owned by an oligarch, and you just have to the league has to do the right thing. The right thing to do was to force Roman to sell.
Well, I guess from my perspective, right, and again, maybe it's my take, at the time, and for most of the time, Russia wasn't, a terrorist organization, which it eventually became, and Abramovich got pushed out, right, and I don't know, there was a swath of fans that I find unsettling that didn't want it to happen at that point, but, fuck them, right, I think largely, Chelsea came to terms with the fact that he needed to fucking go, right? But I don't see that groundswell. People think it's just peachy, and Newcastle's fan base is right behind him these days.
So all of the justifications that the Premier League used to force Roman out, they existed the entire time he owned the club. Russia has been an aggressor globally. They took Crimea by force during Obama's presidency while Roman owned the club. They a lot of their they're anti-LGBTQ. They'll imprison gay people there. All the same reasons.
True.
That they all existed all along, and that's why I see the parallel here. I agree that they should have forced Roman out, and I still agree with it, even though my club is a shit show.
Yeah.
I think that they need to force the sale of these clubs, and they need to, because
otherwise it's just going to precipitate more horrible things the same way that Abramovich did.
But you also found in Abramovich a more willing partner, not to say that he was actually a willing partner to sell the club when he was forced out. There was a certain kind of okay, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
In my memory of it.
Yeah.
But these city-states are not going to take it the same way. There will be legal injunction forever around these things, because that's what the kind of sophistication they're working on, right?
Yeah.
This is a long-term legal strategy. I think the real backstop is going to have to be at the parliamentary level, where the government's going to have to pass some law to back them up, because there's so much gray space, it seems to me, and it hasn't been judged yet. So we'll see what happens. But it's pretty fucking evil, the argument for it. Yeah. It's just the most unethical thing. Why is a club like Chelsea, that doesn't have the same background in terms of city-state structure, why are they pushing this through?
Why are
That's
they
a great
supporting
question.
it?
Yeah, why would they support
it? I can only reason that Chelsea are in favor of this because their finances are so pear-shaped at this point that they too want this arbiter to go away so that they can pump money into the club and then try to I think that it's I don't think that they're making a political statement. I think they're just that would be nice. If we could get ourselves out of this hole. I think it's fully It's just a selfish stance.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That's I find that kind of like, I thought it was hilarious that we backed him, and I do find it troubling that like, unless they're really worried about being like a retrospective rule change, like, I think you have to kind of cut your losses at this point and deal with like a real financial fair play, reasonable fair play dynamic, as opposed to this just free for all that we're backing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, real interesting. I really hope that this just ends soon, and they're like, nope, that's
it's not going to. I mean, to your point that you made, I don't know who he is in the Citigroup chain of command, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but somebody relatively high up when these 115 charges came, they said that they would rather spend 30 million euros on the top 5 lawyers in the world bogging the PL down in litigation than deal with these charges. And I think that this is the first move in that posture for them.
Yeah, because a sports team, right, is an investment that lives on in perpetuity. I mean, look at like the value of NFL teams, right? Whereas the oil pipelines are going to dry up at some point, right? So it behooves them to do everything they can to protect and to grow that investment.
Yeah,
and they've been largely successful to this point too, right? So like the strategy is working to the extent they're not actually punished for anything they've done.
Well, and kind of changing it a little bit onto the footballing side, they've also been, I think now will be the question where this is time where this question is asked. For how long does Pep Guardiola play a part in propping that image up? Because Pep Guardiola has been a huge part of them legitimizing themselves over the past 5 to 7 years, how long have he's been there. And now I think the question really has to be asked more pointed towards him. It's like, at what time do you step away because this is too much? How much have you attributed, or how much have you contributed to this, right? And we'll see. Like, he's supposed to be this old man of soccer a little bit, you know. He has the tradition of La Liga and Blaugrana. So, like, when does he step away and say this is too much?
There's no doubt this is his last season, right?
He is. There is doubt.
In my mind, there's not.
In my mind, there's no doubt.
I hope that he leaves before the season's over, but I kind of doubt he will.
Yeah, so I think that he is quoted as saying something like, "We do everything above board here, and the minute it becomes evident that we do not, I will resign." He said something approximating.
And this lawsuit is that. Like, this lawsuit is like, oh, this destroys football.
Well,
yeah.
In Spain, the laws are pretty big. Well, the laws are ambiguous. The social take on the adherence to the laws is a little bit ambiguous. But so who knows what he really means? But sure.
Yeah. So interestingly, I'm also pulling something up that I want Luke to live react to, because he doesn't participate in the Discord. But anyway.
I still don't know what Discord is.
How old are you, Luke? We were calling you a 20-year-old last week, like in your 20s, but aren't you? You're in your 30s, right?
We're gonna stick with I'm in my 20s.
Okay.
I'm gonna hide in there. I'm 32.
Okay.
I'd like that to be redacted from this.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it.
Dude,
all right,
I have Discord though.
Okay.
I just
you just
discovered
don't
it.
remember
You just don't like.
Oh, I'm on some like whiskey group. I've been a member since 2022.
So Shannon played tennis with Luke yesterday, and she said, "I'm playing tennis with Luke at 8:30 in the morning," and I said,
What?
"No shot." that's what I said. I said, "No fucking shot," and then she was like, "He picked the time," and I was like, "Yeah, he picks the time that we record our podcast every week, and it's still like a 30% hit."
I was here first today, by the way.
And she then the next morning, yesterday, she was like, "Luke just texted me, he's on his way," and then I guess to close the day out, Luke told her, yeah, if I actually feel like doing something, I will show up on time or something like that.
All right.
So yeah,
it's good to know. I already knew how Luke felt about me, but
Yeah,
it's
I
good
mean,
to
he's-
have a third party involved.
yeah, all of the signs were there, and now we have it straight from the horse's
That's not
mouth.
exactly what I said, but you can interpret it that way. I like that.
Anyway, so the clubs, just to wrap this Man City thing up, this is going to be a story all summer long for sure. But the clubs that have come out against Man City and are providing evidence for the 115 charges that Man City are facing include Man United, Arsenal, Fulham, Wolves, Brighton, and Tottenham. So there are your good guys. And that's enough to not pass this law, like not overturn this law or rule, right? They need 2/3. Yeah. So, oh, and they didn't overturn FFP, or not FFP, sorry, VAR. That was another big news story this week.
Yeah, Wolves were the only club to vote against it, which, like, you gotta kind of respect. But I think there were some discussions about how to significantly change it and make it better, which I think was the whole point of the vote anyway.
Yeah. They also, another vote that happened this week was, so those hotels that Chelsea sold, they tried to close that loophole, and that failed the vote. So Chelsea are in the clear, just like they sold. I was trying to read about this. Derek, you're the finance guy. You need to look into this. But like, they somehow sold Cobham, the training ground, and 2 hotels to remain compliant with FFP, but the club retains the revenues generated by those 2 facilities,
It's
or those
probably
3
a lease
facilities.
back or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but yeah, some like real
That's
fucking
super shady.
financial jujitsu going on by Chelsea.
Yeah.
Hella shady.
Yeah, and I think, like, from what I can tell, the distinguishment isn't necessarily like that City wasn't doing or Chelsea wasn't doing the same things that City was doing. Is that Chelsea didn't have a pyramid scheme set up through the Cayman Islands to hide the balance sheets of these transactions and then pretend like they were not related party transactions, right?
They
And
just
so,
put them out in front of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's very clear what's going on here. Maybe
Well,
that's
they
because of
also-
the stuff they found when they came
And I
into
can't
this,
wrap
but-
my head around this, but they also clearly undervalued the assets. Like they sold that's all prime London real estate that they sold for way under market value. And
They probably did that to avoid the scrutiny of the fair market value evaluations of it, right? Because it's not that uncommon of a thing to sell property and then have it leased back to you for use. I think there's a lot of that probably that goes on like with stadiums and maybe even the NFL and stuff. But from a business perspective, it's not that uncommon.
I was also thinking that maybe eventually they've got to sell it back so that they can sell it. Like they're not going to sell a club that doesn't have a training ground, right?
Yeah, they'll have to sell it back if the ownership transfers.
If there was a transaction, yeah. But I mean,
that's pretty funny.
They're locked out of selling the team for a decade. They have to hold on to Chelsea for 10 years, and we're in year 2.
That's a long
ending year 2.
investment structure right? Like usually those investment structure like 4 to 5 years.
I have no idea. I haven't bought a soccer team yet. Luke, you want to watch that clip I sent you and live react to this?
I did. She fucking knocked her ass out.
Dude, that is the craziest. That's it. Like, do you just ban that person forever?
do you think that other players said something to her like "get
Damn,
fucking
dude.
tunneled"?
She is a lefty.
Get tunneled, bitch. This.
I don't know if you ban someone for life for that, but like Eric Cantona wasn't, banned for life for going into the stands and fighting somebody. So I think that it's not a ban for life, but I hope she gets some therapy because that was. Or she goes into a different sport. Like she could be in boxing.
Dude,
like she just rocked that chick. Like
perfect form.
yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I'm
Clean
glad that I
on
saw
the
that
chin.
today.
Anyway, I don't know who any of these people are. I have heard this. I don't even know what these teams are. I've heard it's a friendly MAR versus COD, so it's some sort of women's soccer friendly. And this what is this, like a defensive midfielder, maybe?
I love it. Just right in the face.
Yeah, maybe it's an
Basically,
attacker.
like Jesse Marsh doing an interview like about the U.S. men's national team.
She's the same player.
Don't bring it back. Send him away.
Well, the initial tackle is
It's from her,
not-
right? Or
yeah, it's like the dirtiest tackle I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Like,
I'm sure Son's done one better,
Son has
but
done worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, you're right. If you eliminate the Butcher of North London,
Yeah.
then this is pretty far up there. And then the woman who got clobbered, her team comes to the defense, and this bitch throws a left hook,
Big
like
ass.
the cleanest left hook, and just starches this other. I'll put a link to this tweet in the description of this episode if you want to watch it. It's wild.
I'm glad it happened and that I saw it.
Yeah.
yeah, in that moment, basically the only provocation is getting like I think she puts a hand to her chest, but that's like enough for the opposing player to just swing a haymaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I mean,
Good for her.
catches are clean.
yeah.
I mean,
That-
the
yep.
lights go out instantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
She just completely ragdolls. Anyway, want to do some transfer news? Did you guys have other topics?
I don't want to take that away from you.
And roll
so
through it.
let's
I
get
mean, I
into
don't.
it.
There's nothing that interesting
Roll
right
through
now.
it, Ryan.
I don't
Come on.
believe
Hey,
you.
everybody,
I don't
we're
believe-
entering the Ryan rumor mill.
So it says. So
Fucking reading Rainbow over here.
Tosin went to Chelsea. That's official now. He's like a 6'5" ball
Very
playing
tall-
defender.
Very tall boy.
Big ass bitch, that guy. He is I don't know how he fits in. So Chelsea as a right-sided center center defensive player. I can't words today. I don't know. You've got Wesley Fofana.
He will never play for Chelsea again.
Maybe not. Trevoh Chalobah and Axel Disasi, and now Tosin. And I assume Tosin is being brought in to help with set pieces because he's huge. He is really good in the air. He weirdly he gets forward really well. I watch them play. I mean, every like YouTube clipped up video, whatever the hell, makes every player look like a world beater. But he looks pretty smooth on the ball especially for his height. I don't know. I like it. He was free. We'll see.
Do you think, like, rather than having a coach that knows how to play with the lead, we're just going to sub him in the 70th minute of every match we're winning?
I would hope. Yeah, I would hope. And maybe we should talk about Maresca and what did. Luke, do you know anything about Enzo Maresca?
Yeah,
Have you?
I've been following up. I think
Okay.
it still feels ridiculous to me that Chelsea fired Pochettino and then hired a manager who's never coached in the Premier League. May he succeed. I'm not
Well, he was Pep's
sadistic fuck
assistant.
like you guys about Tottenham. Like, I hope he does well for Chelsea, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
He was Pep's assistant
At
coach
City,
during
yeah.
their treble-winning season. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's not been the guy for
Yeah.
a PL team, but he has coached in the Premier League.
Well, at an
Yeah.
assistant level, right? He was a manager of a Leicester team with the highest wage bill in the Championship.
Yep.
So good for him for getting. I just don't understand the strategy, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to
So
me.
I do think this guy makes sense for that system. I think he will slot right in as the starter, Tosin.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I think so.
Yeah. What else? I guess we'll cover Chelsea's nonsense. So Arsenal and Chelsea are both going after Šeško from the Bundesliga. I think he's at Leipzig. Young striker, kind of get Hazard or not Hazard, Havertz. Jeez, Havertz vibes from him when I watch him play. I don't know. I don't know that he's the solution. I did see Nico Jackson jacked his ankle up in international play this week and has a very severe, is what the report was, ankle sprain. So, yeah, I don't know. I also don't know why Šeško, however you say his name, would pick Chelsea over Arsenal. Chelsea are officially out of the Osimhen race. So, I mean, basically the finances don't make sense for them. However, Napoli are in for Lukaku, and they have made an opening bid of 15 million euros. His release clause is 38. And Chelsea say they are
15 million for Lukaku is an amazing thing. What a baller of a man that he can still get 15 million.
Did Lukaku agree to that before or after he found out the fudge sundaes are being taken away from the cafeteria at the training ground?
Yeah. Oh, well, so Don Conte is going to Napoli. Antonio Conte is taking the reins over there, and that's who pretty famously Thomas Tuchel pointed at and said, "That's your daddy," to to Lukaku while Lukaku was at Chelsea.
That's your daddy.
That's your daddy. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. We know Conte is on record saying that Lukaku is the perfect striker. And so everybody thinks that deal will get done. Lukaku is also, he's taken the opportunity that he's playing for the Belgian team to really give Saudi the eyes. Like it seems like he's ready to chase the bag out there. So I do think Lukaku will go, and I think that Chelsea will get the 38 million release clause or somewhere in that area for him. So yeah, and thanks to hotel shell games that we've played, we don't have to sell. So yeah, Villa and Tottenham are in for Gallagher, and I guess he's had preliminary talks with Villa. He is not interested in going to Tottenham for obvious reasons, but we'll see how that develops. And what are some other interesting? I thought it was interesting. Vardy signed a contract with Leicester.
What a fucking baller.
Yeah.
Been drinking Red Bull since the 6th grade.
Yeah, dude.
Let's fucking go.
Just hammering what does he drink? He drinks like a glass of port and a Red Bull before every game or something like that.
What? He's like infamous for having a can of Red Bull on the sideline before subbing on.
Yeah.
Red Bull fine, but port doesn't seem to fit.
I think that's right. I think it's port.
That would give me a tummy ache.
Dude. Yeah, what an absolute legend. He snubbed Wrexham, who had an offer on the table for Vardy. So yeah, he'll be in the PL again next season. Tottenham and United are targeting Eze. That is, I mean, I would just, given those two options, I would just stay at Crystal Palace if I was him. But yeah, Real Madrid they're planning to go after Florian Wirtz in 2025. So that's going to be their next big target acquired. I thought it was interesting. Graham Potter snubbed Brighton, and they are now appointing Fabian Hürzeler.
31 years old.
31-year-old German-American who guided St. Pauli to promotion to the Bundesliga last season. So I have no idea. I just found that out this morning. I have no idea what his coaching style is. So, yeah, we'll see. Still no idea what's going on with De Zerbi. The rumors were that his clause was triggered by some club, and everybody thought it was either Man United or Chelsea. And Man United are still tiptoeing around the Ten Hag thing, which is hilarious.
They need to fucking make up their minds so they can make transfers as a team instead of just like, dicking around all the time. Jesus Christ.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Ten Hag's still going to be there.
I think he will be.
I think he gives the new ownership some leverage if he does really poorly. I think they can be like, all right, it's our time.
Yeah.
Keep the manager, shift some players, see what happens.
I don't think that Chelsea triggered De Zerbi's clause. So I wonder who did. I have no idea. Or that could all just be rumor. I don't know. I'm going to try to pronounce this dude's name. Kavica Kvaratskhelia, the Kvaradona from Napoli. Everybody expected him to leave this summer. He was picked up during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Players who were playing in, I think, the Russian league, foreign players were, so he's Georgian. They were allowed to break their contract and pick a new club. Napoli picked him up, and he's just balled out for them. And he was expected, so PSG and Barcelona were in for him, and he is expected to sign a new Napoli contract, so he'll hang out there. There were also links with Premier League clubs. City was rumored with him. Chelsea have been on and off rumored to be in for him. Really, really, really fun player to watch. He's two-footed. Honestly, he'd be Tottenham if they ever felt like ponying up some cash. He'd be a good replacement for Son. He's a very two-footed winger, and is definitely like more creative. He's less direct than Son. He's not as fast. He's not as pacey, but he's very creative. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's just about it. Newcastle are in for Burnley's Trafford. Bayern look to be ready to sign Javi Simons, who's a La Masia product that's at PSG, but they're not convinced of him. And I put down here that Tottenham aren't doing shit.
How many years does Son have left?
I think they're trying to give him a new 3-year. I think he'll be there till he retires, to be honest with you. The amount of revenue.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ryan's already trying to
South Korea is amazing.
Yeah.
He's like a hero in South Korea, man.
Yeah.
Keep him on. Keep the revenue coming, like good old fucking Spurs. No, I think he will actually. I think he loves living in London. I think he loves Spurs. I think he probably has one more year as a starter every game, but definitely not up top. I think he should never play up top ever again.
So to Ryan's point, this might be the right time to start looking at bringing somebody else in.
Nah, yeah, maybe. Yeah,
maybe.
I would think Ange is kind of on that. If Ange stays another year, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think our the recruiting team at Spurs has gotten significantly better in the past 10 months or so. Like Lange, I think it might be his name. Like we've brought in some new kind of management level teams after the collapse of like the Conte Mourinho years. So I think it should be on the right track, whatever manager we have. And the revenue of the club's gone up, so hopefully that materializes in spending. But you never know. Probably not.
Probably not. I did see that. So I remembered when you joined the podcast early last season, I said that I didn't think Tottenham had a great squad, and you took issue with that. And I did see in the transfer news that Tottenham have identified 11 first-team players that they'd like to sell. Yeah, I was like, I don't think Tottenham have a very good squad.
I think there are good players in there, but I just don't. I think the starting 11's good. The squad's not good. I think there are players in there who are of a good level, like a Højbjerg type, like not top level, but of a good level, that just don't match the way that the team plays anymore. So I think there needs to be a squad rebuild. And you look at someone like Ndombele, he's like fucking record signing is about to get they're about to mutually break the contract. Like, so there's definitely been some missteps, but
yeah,
Eze is a good target for us. I think if we were able to sign a player like Eze, it definitely would help. There's some good noise around Bergvall coming in, dude. That Lucas Bergvall dude's gonna ball out at 19 years old. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, is that the Swedish guy?
Yeah, I think he's Swedish. Yeah, we signed him in January,
play?
I believe. Somewhere in like Denmark or something. Like
no. What position is he? Like an attacking mid?
Yeah, kind of a center attacking mid,
That's
number
right.
8, kind of like a Madison.
Yeah,
a little deeper than Madison probably.
It just occurred like the replacement for Son is probably Mikey Moore.
Yeah,
he's another two-footed left
if he
wing.
can come up to the level, yeah.
Yeah.
Still a lot to be proven there.
Yeah, I think he's like 17 now.
Yeah, I think he just turned 17. Yeah, he was like the youngest Tottenham player to ever play. I think actually.
Yep. Yeah, I watched his debut while you guys got smoked by Chelsea for a second time last season.
Woo!
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Oh no!
How's sixth place?
Like
enjoying sixth
practically
place?
as good as fifth place.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Conference League. You
I think
fucks.
this season is going to be really interesting. I think that it'll be interesting to see if Ange comes off that this is who we are, this is how we play stuff, and evolves.
Because it's risky,
I'm
right?
Huh?
It's risky at this point if he rolls with that.
Well, they had some injuries, and then I think
Yeah.
Ange Ball got found out, and teams just weren't scared of them anymore in the back half of the season, and they ended the season in dreadful form. So
they had none of the intensity that they had at the beginning of the season.
yeah.
It just never leveled out.
So
I think historically, Ange's second seasons are his best seasons. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if he can, if he can adapt to the PL now that his initial set of tactics have sort of been found out. I think that's it. You guys have anything else you wanted to cover? I don't know how far we've gone.
No,
how
I think
long we've gone.
we'll jump into. We can talk about some women's soccer happenings next episode, and they'll probably be good. And we'll see
Cool.
how the men do in the interim.
Love it.
I don't even know where Riverside is on my computer right now.
This is our
There it is.
machine learning guy right here.
Yeah.
Folks.
I have so many tabs open. I have 4 tabs dedicated to that left hook alone. All right. Well, I guess that's a pod. Definitely check us out on Discord. Apparently Luke has that, but doesn't like us. That'll be in the show description. I'll put the link to this tweet of this crazy foul and left hook in our show description for this week. And we are live on Sundays whenever Luke feels like it. And we're on all podcasting platforms on Monday. So please like and subscribe and review. It really helps us out. And I guess on Friday the Euros kick off, so we'll be covering that next week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.